we'd begin by thanking Professor Dipali for giving us this wonderful opportunity to carry forward with this awareness campaign on sensory diversity. I believe it accomplishes the goal of going beyond academics and putting yourself out there, interacting with people and making them as aware as we can. And I believe that it wasn't just us five of us going there putting a stall at Crossover Commons just for an assignment or for marks, but also like all of us 35 to 40 people coming together as a community to initiate something which could bring a huge difference. So I think just little steps, little things do make a lot of difference, and I believe a lot of people who came there, a lot of people who were just crossing by would have gone back to their dorms and searched or googled what is autism, what is ADHD, what is neurodiversity. And I think it's a good place to start with, which is exactly what our objective was for our campaign, to make people as aware as we can, to bust some myths that people might have, some misconceptions they might think that about neurodiversity. I think another objective we tried to incorporate in our activities was to try and make people understand that if there persists a problem for a neurotypical, that same problem might also persist for a neurodiverse individual. The difference only lies in between how both the two individuals perceive it, how both the two individuals try to find solutions, and what kind of solutions they come up with. And I think we did a good job in doing that. And now we're gonna see what our procedure was.
To implement our neurodiversity campaign across the university, our team began with brainstorming inclusive, engaging ways to connect with the campus community. We defined clear objectives to raise awareness about neurodiversity, particularly autism and ADHD, while promoting empathy and fostering a more inclusive environment. The campaign centered around interactive educational outreach. We set up awareness booths across the Crossover Commons and had activities like Texture Tales and Beyond Words, designed to simulate sensory and communication experiences common among neurodivergent individuals. To encourage participation, we introduced I Embrace Difference badges and invited students to contribute positive messages to our neurodiversity wall. These elements created a sense of community and visible support for neurodivergent peers. Promotion was carried out through social media and our peer volunteers, who played a key role in facilitating activities and conversations.
Coming to the activities that we had at the table, the kinetic sand and the slime were big hit. Like everyone really enjoyed that, be it neurodiverse or neurotypical. Of course, coming back to the point of how neurodiverse individuals may be different from neurotypical individuals in the way they see the world, stress that everyone experiences is essentially the same. Now, one may experience more stress than the other, but that doesn't make either of their experience invalid.
Thank you so much for this.
He's been fixed.
You can get this from Blinkit as well.
Really?
Yes.
I want to eat it
Why?
because it's like stimulating parts of my brain and I really like it.
It's just very satisfying. Although like this kind of slime, it could have been a lot more.
It could have been stretchier, yes.
Yeah, it could have been stretchier, yes, but otherwise I do enjoy it. I mean, it's just, look at this, it's satisfying. Look at this.
Everyone also enjoyed writing a cute little message for any neurodiverse individual that would like to see it or something that they'd want to put there out in the world. And I personally loved the board because it was something that was very warm and very heartfelt. Everyone was drawing on it, everyone was just drawing things out, talking about things. It essentially gave us also an opportunity to engage in an open conversation very directly with people who were coming to the desk, and we're just like trying out different things. One of my favorite things was also the communication game that we had for people to play.
So this activity was called Beyond Words, where participants were provided with various chits they had to choose from. In each chit, a scenario was presented before them. For example, it started raining or I won the first prize, and they had to enact out the scenario to a person in front of them without using their words. So this activity was aimed at making people understand how communication can be a barrier between a neurotypical individual and a neurodiverse individual.
So, did you find it hard to communicate without using words?
Yes.
Yeah, it was hard. And did you find it hard to understand what she was saying when she wasn't using words?
I gave up. I'm so sorry. I gave up. What was it?
I had to apply my mind. I feel like if she
Yeah.
would have used words,
It would have been easier. Yeah, I definitely found that it's harder to communicate without using words because we're so dependent on it that it's a little difficult to communicate like that.
Point of having this activity was so for a person who's neurodivergent might not be able to convey what he's trying to say, and neither the person in front of them be able to understand what they're trying to say.
It sort of helped them to see that how differences in communication, differences in being able to perceive the world as similarly as other people do can, put an individual under a lot of stress. Like helping, like seeing them understand just one sentence versus a person dealing with something similar for the rest of their life. But it was something that even people who were at the stall enjoyed. So altogether, it was a great learning opportunity for us as students to interact with people, hold that campaign, have fun, and I believe that we were able to change not a lot of opinions, but some opinions and brains of some people about neurodiversity, because well, all brains are just as beautiful.
Some of the challenges we faced was, number one, due to environmental stimuli, it was difficult for neurodiverse individuals to interact with us. There were also a lot of misconceptions, and we had to work with different people who had different levels of understanding, and we had to cater our explanations towards them. And finally, one of the last challenges we faced was reaching a larger target audience because we had only a certain number of people come up to our stalls and actually engage and interact with us. It would have been nicer if we could have engaged with a lot more people.
I understand neurodiversity as an umbrella term for multiple mental health conditions like autism, ADHD, learning disabilities. What now I know of it as something that people have started resonating to as opposed to something that people are diagnosed with. So it's something that people feel more comfortable being.
Alright, do you know someone who's neurodiverse?
I have a few friends who are.
And how's the relationship with them?
Pretty great. Somehow I find them very relatable. And there are things that are quite peculiar about them, but I think just being open and understanding that they just work a little differently makes all the difference.
So to me, neurodiversity is a unique way of living life.
That there are individuals in this world and around us who are different in the way their brain perceives the world and the way their certain behavioral traits are, which aren't the same as the general population around
That's
us.
fair. And do you know someone who's neurodiverse?
No, I don't.
That's fair. Thank you.
I just want to share a little bit about my own experience with stimming. So for me, stimming can look like playing with my hair, just tapping things, playing with my keys. I really like, especially when I'm, feeling overwhelmed, or when I need to focus, or when, I'm overstimulated. It really helps me self-regulate and feel grounded, even when everything else is feeling a little bit chaotic. And to someone neurotypical, maybe these small movements might look random, but for neurodiverse people, they're actually really helpful for managing sensory input.
I don't know much about it.
Okay, so neurodiversity essentially is when a person's mind processes things differently. It includes things like learning disabilities, ADHD, autism. Do you know someone who's neurodiverse?
I have 2-3 classmates in my class who are neurodivergent. So
Okay.
I'm a little aware in the sense that they do have issues, they do cope up with it differently, and they have their own struggles, which I see on a daily basis. So yes.
That's fair. How is your relationship with them?
With one I have become fairly new friends with, but the other one is just a classmate, but I do see how she also struggles in class and what all she goes through, and she has her own meltdowns from time to time about the fact that she is neurodivergent. So it does breaks your heart a little that she struggles with things that normally usually people don't even think about.
That's fair. Thank you.
Neurodiversity to me is basically acceptance that all brains are wired differently. So neurodiversity is inclusivity.